I have been looking for this thing for 5 years. It started with just a flash, a memory if you will, discussing old shows that we grew up with, and then all of a sudden we remembered this. And we looked for it all over the internet and could find nothing. But we knew it existed. There were discs for sale on Amazon and eBay, but still, us being stubborn and cheap, we decided to go looking all throughout the internet to see if we could just find the episodes as is. Unfortunately, we could not. But now, we've recovered it and it's finally in our possession once again. Kurt Warner's The Good Sports Gang was a failed attempt to launch a Christian children's franchise. Headed by Kurt Warner, who was the
Super Bowl champion and a two-time NFL Most Valuable Player.
Yeah, he was that. It was billed as the next big thing. Could possibly be the new VeggieTales even, and it lasted 2 episodes before fading away. Unfortunately, there's no information as to why this happened. I for one believe either poor sales or poor reviews, or a combination of the two. But how did I first come across this, you ask? Well, growing up, my friends and I loved VeggieTales. We'd always go to each other's houses and watch the episodes and all that sort of stuff. One day when I went over to my friend's house, his mom presented us with the DVD copy of this, the first episode of The Good Sports Gang. She was a sucker for Christian children's shows, so she had us watch it, believing it'd be like VeggieTales. Plus, it was headed by Kurt Warner. When we watched it, she loved it, but we didn't exactly feel the same way. It's not that we disliked it, we just didn't like it. So of course, being kids, we just watched it 3 more times. Not that day, just ever. Even if it wasn't a big part of my life growing up, remembering it sparked this interest, this fascination, this desperate mission to get a hold of this thing and take a look at it, once again, after all these years. So now, let's see if Kurt Warner's The Good Sports Gang lives up to the expectations of just being okay. Also, my reviewing style is going to be a little bit different in this one. Because I bet about 98% of you haven't seen this thing, let alone even heard of it, I'm going to just go beat for beat and describe the story. Then I will go into my general notes like I normally do. So this one might be a little bit longer, just a heads up. This thing starts off with a little bit of an intro from Kurt Warner's daughter. She explains to the kids who Kurt Warner is and how excited they are for The Good Sports Gang to finally premiere. Even though it's not much, and she's clearly not an actress at all, I actually really like this opening. It provides this bit of transparency and overall optimistic energy about the show. Gives it a passion project feel, which, well, let's save that for the end. Here comes the theme song! Now, I know what you're all thinking. Is it going to be as bad as Dorby's?
We're the Good Sports Gang, here to guide the way.
Well, no, it's not, but it's also not great either. Let's start with the visuals. This animation doesn't look finished. All the movements look jerky and the characters don't move correctly. The textures are wrong, the lighting is weird. And a big pet peeve of mine, they don't move their mouths. They're singing and they don't move their mouth. And that's not just me nitpicking either. No, there's a very clear body shot of all of them and not one of them is moving their mouth. Look. Well, that's what happens when you partner with Good Times Entertainment, right? So let's find out the names of these guys.
Kiki!
Kiki? Wait. What? What? What?! The first name you introduce us with is the worst one. Kiki. Are you kidding? With that said, for every cringeworthy name, there are some names that are actually alright, like Rowley, QB, or Duncan. So yeah, a bit of a mixed bag when it comes to names, huh? So after they're done with their little theme song, they all boo-bah away from their locker room headquarters and are just back again all of a sudden. Alright? So the first scene in that first episode is always the most important. Why? Because it provides a gateway into the characters that we're going to see throughout the show. While it's ludicrous to expect them all to be fully fleshed out in the first episode, it does provide some groundwork for the personalities of the cast. So, what are they in The Good Sports Gang? This one's a baseball. This one's a basketball. This one's a tennis ball. And those are the personalities. The personalities of The Good Sports Gang is just, what ball are you? Cool! You like talking about that sport. That is your only character trait. So you can pretty much just change the sport ball of whatever character it is, and then you wouldn't really lose anything. Except there'd be 2. Oh wait, they did that for the golf balls already. The only exception to this is QB, but we'll get to that later. After that, they get a call on their Game Boys from Kurt Warner, who's apparently not just a team leader, but some kind of omnipotent being who sees everything and everyone in the town of Fairfield. Not kidding, this guy knows everything about everyone, including the kid that they're targeting today, Elliot. See, Elliot is playing this version of lacrosse called Flobo. Flobo is basically just lacrosse, but with these weird things as goals, and the ball is a bird. His problem is that he's terrible at it. Absolutely terrible. He can't get anything done, and he gets made fun of for that on the team. So the Good Sports Gang is gonna help this kid out while teaching him about God. Oh, I'm sorry, only 3 of them are. And we never see the others for the rest of this episode. Yeah, so much for the Good Sports Gang. Only 1/3 of the gang actually has any prevalence in this episode.
We all stand together, friends forever. We all got a smile on our face. That's why happy in Fairfield.
I don't know if it's the overall cheesiness or the kind of catchy tune, but I actually kind of like this song. It's a guilty pleasure to be sure, but still I like it, especially this guy. Rock on, man. So after Elliot has a little bit of trouble at his job at the Bat Factory, why does he have a job? Isn't he like 8? The Good Sports Gang decides to help him out by... Okay, hold on a minute. Look, just look at this right here in front of you. This is real. You are seeing a football with Rayman hands pretending to be an old man. Why would anyone think he's a football? It's not like he has the giant stitch on the side of his face or is made out of cow skin. Sorry, that one just kind of got away from me. It had to be said. Still, because Elliot's not very intelligent, he falls for it. But now we get the most important part of any Christian children's show, the lesson. So, what does QB teach Elliot? I don't know. It's really convoluted. So 1 second QB's saying that God will help him be good at Flobo, and then the next second he's saying God won't do that and just pray and he will help you do whatever he needs you to do. There's also some things in there about first things first and you gotta love God and he loves you, but it's just so messy. I can't really tell what they're trying to get behind here. And then we have another song because I guess we need more of those. Elliot sings while he prays and QB watches him sleep? Okay. QB also has a song that's easily the worst one so far, and it's exceptionally creepy, especially given the context this is in.
There's something there, deep inside, and that will be your crown. Your crown.
QB, get away from the boy. So then, all of a sudden, there's a dam that's breaking. What? They try to fix it and they can't find it. So QB is a ghost and he's dead, I guess? Did he get popped? What happened? All he really says is,
QB's the name, helping kids is my game. I'm from the Good Sports Gang, and only you can see me.
but what does that mean? Does the Good Sports Gang have this kind of power to turn into ghosts whenever they will it and only be seen by the person they're stalking? I just don't get it. And then he encourages him to go fix the dam?
Leave the Flobo Flinger behind, Elliot. Where you're going, you won't be needing it.
What, is he gonna kill him or something? So, Elliot actually finds the crack in the dam and fixes it. You know, despite the fact that these highly qualified technicians can't find it anywhere, he just finds it in some random tunnel and all he had to do was turn on the light. So then Elliot has apparently saved the day, even though that crack was so tiny and the water coming out was minimal. Sure, the town would have been submerged, but it probably would have taken about 4,000 years. Then they have this song.
I can't believe it. I never saw it. Never in 100 tries.
So the Good Sports Gang has solved Elliot's problem. Except no, they haven't. This wasn't Elliot's problem. Elliot's problem wasn't that he felt bad about himself because he didn't know what he was going to do with his life, or that he felt that God didn't love him. His problem was that he stunk at the sport he played. Fixing the dam may make him popular for now, but that's not going to give him any Flobo skills. QB didn't help him with that at all. He just forced him into this potentially dangerous scenario, and boom, everything's okay. But I argue that things are actually worse for Elliot now. He's a town hero for now, sure, but what happens during his next Flobo game? He's going to be terrible. And it's not just going to be bad like before, it's going to be even worse because he has that big name behind him now as the big hero. So he's going to fall even harder and it's going to feel even worse for the poor guy. Great job, Good Sports Gang. Great job. wait a minute. Something's wrong here. No, not the jerky movements of the townspeople. No, not the fact that Elliot is dabbing so gracefully here. I'm talking about the fact that there's still 18 minutes left of runtime for this thing. But the conflict's over. The Good Sports Gang are going home. What else is there to do? I'm so confused. Okay, Coach's Corner. This is basically the What Did We Learn segment. QB interviews Kurt Warner about the lessons we learned today. Now is it over? No, there's an ad for a video that they posted on their long-defunct website. Okay, now is it over? No, we get the behind-the-scenes features! Now is it over? Yes, now the credits roll. Are you kidding me? You can't do that, that's cheating! You can't just put bonus material at the end of your episode and artificially inflate the runtime. No! No! That is wrong! You can't do that, Good Sports Gang! You can't do that! So that was the end of the first of the 2 Good Sports Gang episodes. Elliot the Invincible. Ooh, that was a mess. I'm kind of at a loss for words, because when I came into this thing, I was so excited, but by the end of it, my mouth was just hanging open. I couldn't believe that this was real. It's fundamentally broken in every way. But first, let me give one defense of the Good Sports Gang. Ever since I brought this up, people, along with myself, have claimed that this is a VeggieTales ripoff, because after all, anthropomorphic objects who teach people about God through quirky scenarios, yeah, that kinda sounds a bit too similar. But here's the thing, it doesn't try at all to be a ripoff. It does its own style, it has its own premise, and the only real similarity is that it's a Christian show about anthropomorphic household objects. That's really it. Other than that, it is completely different. It's not like The Horned Avenger or Bible Man where they just try to steal their style of humor, and it's not like Dorby's where it just tries to ape it entirely. No, Good Sports Gang does its own thing, and I do not in any way consider it a VeggieTales ripoff. Now let's tear into the thing. First off, the animation is... I don't even know what to call it, it's just unfinished. The theme song aside, look at this. This is not finished. I don't care what studio made this is not done yet. Send it back to the render farm and complete your work. It would be bad enough if this entire thing looked like this, but it doesn't. The quality shifts so much. But the animation is just surface level stuff. Let's really dig in and get to the deeper layers. There is almost no story to this. Basically it's, kid doesn't do well at sports, a creepy ghost football talks to him, and then he saves the town from a slow leak. That's the entire story. I haven't skipped over anything of substance. It's not even just that it doesn't do well at the one story it tells, it doesn't do well at either of the stories it tells. The whole dam breaking thing is way too forced. It has nothing to do with anything early on. Sure, in the Bat Factory he was able to find that one tiny crack in that one bat. That's not good foreshadowing. And once again, it doesn't actually help Elliot's problem. I will concede that maybe he will actually trust God a bit more, but still, that wasn't his immediate problem. His immediate problem was that he had no skill. This also has a lot of pacing issues. Not that it's too slow like most kid shows, no. It's too fast. Barely anything gets any development because everything just woozes by so quickly. It's gone in an instant. Over half of this thing is that special features I mentioned. The actual content is just about 20 minutes. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with making it 20 minutes, but clearly there was a lot of ambition behind this. A longer running time would have definitely helped it. You could have actually had some time setting up the story, giving Elliot more character traits than just, I'm miserable. Focused on the Good Sports Gang characters, or given them some more development, or anything else, really. Before you have time to think about something or get invested, bam, it's gone, on to the next thing. And that's how this whole thing operates. And as evidenced by their shady DVD practices, they clearly wanted a longer running time. What's stopping you? Maybe it was a money issue, but still. The songs here are just kinda all over the place. Some of them are kinda catchy in an earworm guilty pleasure way, others are just not great at all. But still, aside from the theme song, there's no reason for any of these. Even Hap Hap Happy and Fairfield. There's no reason for these to be here because everything that they convey could be easily explained through dialogue, and could be done much quicker at that. It really just feels like they're here because all Christian children's shows have to have songs, so put songs in here, otherwise it won't be taken seriously. It just feels so out of place. Not to mention that the lyrics can be a little off sometimes. The Good Sports Gang doesn't even really exist in here. It's the QB show featuring the Good Sports Gang. To some extent. As mentioned, the only characters that get more than 2 lines in this thing are Kiki, Duncan, and QB, with QB being the only one with any sort of importance. Sure, Kiki and Duncan join QB on his little mission to help save Elliot, but they don't do anything. They don't help the kid. They don't even talk to him. They just sit back and cheer QB on and occasionally talk to the coach. Kurt Warner actually does way more than the other Good Sports Gang characters put together. Sure, he's your celebrity for the show, but still, that's not very good on a show perspective. I like Kurt Warner. He seems like a very nice guy, even if his acting talent isn't all there. He seems like a very ambitious and driven individual. Plus, he's just great at football. I like him. Still though, he's not supposed to be the show. It's called The Good Sports Gang. And remember how I said QB's the only one with a personality? Well, his personality is just kind-hearted leader. And football. That's really it. He's still an unbelievably shallow character, and if you gave the leader role to literally any other character, that personality would transfer right over. This goes to show that these characters weren't thought of as characters, they were just thought of little icons of their sport. The lesson. It tries to do too much at once. It's the same problem that Dorby's had. It's too broad, and it can't really cover any of its bases. No pun intended. It ends up just kind of feeling tacked on and unnecessary, especially because the final conflict really had nothing to do with anything. After all, it wasn't God who told Elliot to fix the dam. That was QB. Unless Kurt Warner's trying to say that QB is God, that solution had nothing to do with the lesson. Now I bet you're wondering, why would Kurt Warner make his show like this? Well, let me tell you, this whole title, Kurt Warner's The Good Sports Gang, is a total lie. Kurt Warner did not create this. He's just the star and was a creative consultant. According to this interview on Crosswalk.com, link in the description by the way, he mentions that a couple of guys just approached him with the idea of the Good Sports Gang with pretty much everything all written out. They just wanted him in there because they knew he was a diehard Christian and had a lot of name recognition. And I was trying to find some more dirt on the Good Sports Gang, but then I found the behind the scenes featurette. After all, how could I not? And watching it made me realize something. This was a passion project a lot like VeggieTales. Let's compare it one more time. Where's God When I'm Scared? The very first episode that Big Idea ever created was made by 3 guys in a Chicago suburb basement. Just a bunch of people having fun, trying to make the world a better place by doing this little passion project of theirs that some people had faith in and some didn't. Very clearly this is kind of the same, albeit with a bigger production value and an actual studio behind it. But every person that's in this just seems so happy and having such a good time with this whole thing. The way they talk about it really makes it seem like a passion project, something that they really put their time, blood, sweat, and tears into. Unfortunately, it just didn't pan out. That makes me feel kind of bad, honestly. Sure, the thing wasn't very good, at all, but still a lot of people really tried with this and tried to make do with what they had. Who knows, had the writing been a little bit better, this could have been a contender even today. Maybe this could have launched an actual franchise. We may never know. But this wasn't the end of the Good Sports Gang. Aside from the aforementioned second episode, they actually tried with some iPad apps. Unfortunately, all traces of these are gone from the internet, but take my word for it, these existed. All they really were though were just teaching kids how to play football. So, it's clear that they're trying for this again. But should they stay on that road? Should they try to make the Good Sports Gang come back? I actually say, yes. Just try to give the scripts a little bit more of a look and develop the characters a bit more and improve the animation. I think you could actually have something here. And hey, Kurt Warner's still around and clearly believes in the project. I'd be happy to see this come back with a little bit of a better production value. That was the Good Sports Gang. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. What did you think of the video? What did you think of the Good Sports Gang if you've ever watched it? Do you want me to do the second episode? Whatever your feelings are, comment below and let me know, because I'm excited to hear. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
Believe it.